It's a great honor to be here. I was born in a very remote village in South China, and I graduated here just next door, Graduate School of Design. So it's really amazing for me. I'm speaking here for the art of survival. It's a profession of landscape architecture. So after 5 years studying and working in America, I went back to China 18 years later, and under such an assault. You can see 2/3 of Chinese cities are run out of water. 75% of water is polluted. 50% of the habitat got lost in the past 30 years. And 80% of Chinese cities under the threat of pollution. And conventionally, people looking for such solutions, building dams, dikes, concrete, bigger pipes, and more complicated water treatment solutions. All these are, we call it gray solutions. They are totally not sustainable and messed up the whole system. So for 18 years, I'm looking for new solutions, the green solutions, which mean how can we bring nature and man back again. So for 18 years, I tested and practiced in over 200 cities in China to test all my solutions. How can we solve all these problems? Solutions like deal with water, flood. Annual flood in China damage $100 billion every year. And all the rivers in China are being channelized like that, use concrete walls. Altogether, we have over 25,000 high dams in China. So all the rivers been dammed basically. So what's the solution? Make friend with water. So we remove the concrete and recover the nature by these such a nature solutions. I call it make friend with nature, to make a river resilient, to create resilient cities. So during flood, you can see the river are floodable, the city are floodable, adapt to the nature. During the monsoon climate, and after the flood, you can see we have a beautiful park, public space for people to enjoy. In the past 50 years, China have lost 10% of agriculture fertile land to urban development. And imagine we have 20% of population, but only have 8% of arable land in China. But the land now get wasted. So our solution is try to recover it, turn urban landscape productive again. This is what was before. You can see the city landscape being built up, and a huge amount of land being wasted for we call the urban development. It's after recovered. So urban landscape can be productive again. Beautiful, useful, and you can see here farmers can come into the campus to raising sheep. Students, teachers can use the space and reading in the rice paddies. Productive campus. In the past 50 years, hundreds of millions of square meters of new buildings are built. But at the same time, thousands of villages have been wiped out, where memory got lost. What's the new alternatives? So this is the first project I did in China. It's an old factory built in 1950s. The city went wiped out. Our solution is to keep it, preserve it, reuse it, and recycle it. This has been transformed. Beautiful landscape. At the same time, transforms the city, makes the city alive again. And this was a backyard, was a dirty backyard of the city, now become a beautiful front yard, become a catalyst for urban development. Look at the 5-star hotels being built just in the past 10 years. and fashion, of course, beautiful place for people to live in landscape. In the past 50 years, under the name of safety and beauty, billions of dollars have been spent to turn nature, this kind of nature, to turn nature into something we call safe and beauty, under the name of beauty, but it totally destroys the whole natural beauty and natural ecosystems. Now, how can we do minimum to minimize the intervention, but maximize the outcome of the nature's surfaces and the beauty and surfaces? This is a park in North China. We keep nature untouched, but just build one minimum bench, totally transforms the landscape. You can see here, a messy nature, but urbanized with just a little piece of art. Suddenly attract the people surrounding around these areas. It was before, it is after. It is before and after. And look at this whole community being attracted by this minimum little art. These three ladies here in the morning and in the night, they're still here. Yeah. I mentioned 2/3 of Chinese cities are suffering urban flooding. How can we solve this problem? Not just by building high dike or concrete walls or build thick pipes. Create sponge, the green sponge. So inspired by the 1,000 years of heritage, pond and dike system, to transform the landscape, to become a sponge, to absorb water, to retain water, and to cleanse water, and to recharge the aquifer. This was before. 2 years later, as it was, a sponge that deals with storm water. You can see dirty storm water runoff, cleansed, and recharges aquifer, and at the same time create a habitat for biodiversity, at the same time for people to use the space. 2012, 2014, you can see the green sponge functions and catalyst urban development. Underneath the stormwater management, above, people use it. And such kind of green sponge system can also clean the water, clean the soil. About 60% of soil in the city is contaminated. So we just use a sponge system, use the free water from the sky and clean the soil by the natural system. Let nature do the work. And also I mentioned 75% of the surface water is polluted in China like that. Basically all the rivers, all the lakes are polluted like that. But they are nutrients. The nutrients are fertilizers. So the idea is that to reconnect the cycle of the nutrients and to create this kind of landscape. Let nature, let the biosoil system to clean up the nutrient-rich water and turn this dirty 5th-grade water into clean 3rd-grade water, which is swimmable. As in Shanghai, Huangpu River, very poor situation you can see here as before. As a process, building the terraces for water cleansing system as after. And when after 1 mile, the water runs through this natural system, it's been cleaned. So 10 hectares of wetland, we can produce 2,400 cubic meters of clean water, which can be used for 5,000 people every day. Now save $5 million every year just by building such a kind of a park. At the same time, create a beautiful space for people to use. Thousands of rivers in China are being mistreated like that. Dumped, dirty sewage, all this. This is one typical project we have done in the past years as after. Catch stormwater, aeration to create oxygen in the water, to to make the river live again. It was before, it's after. It was before and this after. So you integrating, combining art and science, we can transform this damaged environment. Now the place becomes such a welcomed place for people. Now 40 billion square meters of building has been built in China in the past 50 years, but only 1% of them is energy efficient. 99% of them are just so wasteful, waste of energies. So what's the solution? How can we change the situation? Because energy consumption by building itself account for 30% of energy consumption nationwide. So if we can make the building energy efficient, we can save 30% of energy. Now this beginning from a little test. This is my own apartment. Collect stormwater, solar energy, and turn the balcony into a vegetable garden. Produce vegetables. And use water, use the stormwater, the rainwater, to create a wall, a living wall, as air conditioner, cool off the building in the summer, and create a humidity in the winter. That's our back balcony. Every year we produce 33 kilos of vegetables. Just almost every other day we have a salad from the balcony. Yeah. Collect the stormwater. There's a living room. And there's an indoor, living wall. In living room, you can see this wall will be an air conditioner, function as air conditioner. As today you can see. And it become a community education center. Every month we have visitors come here to learn how to transform their buildings into energy efficient green buildings. Now that's a very small change, but it solves big problems. It collects 52 tons of rainwater and save 2,000 kilowatts of energy. If this kind of practice being replicated, we can save the energy equivalent to 10 three-gorge dams that produce electricity. And 30% of national energy can be saved. So we act like a peasant, like my farmer, like peasant, transforming the landscape. But we think like a king. This is a Turenscape group, which I founded 18 years ago. From me and my wife, began from 2. Now we have 500 staff, designers, to work on this green infrastructure. So that's our king's imagination. How can we transform the whole landscape, the national and global landscape, to become green again, to become really beautiful again? This is art of survival. Thank you.